Why, hello. It's me, Mr. Plinkett. I'd like to talk very briefly about Disney's Marvel's Star Wars Rogue One, a Star Wars story by Disney, a conglomerate corporation. There's been a lot of discussion on this movie recently. Some say it's the worst thing since the prequels, while others say it's the best Star Wars movie ever because it's got the best action and the most explosions. Here's the thing about opinions. They're all wrong unless they're mine. On that note, let's discuss, shall we? In filmmaking, there's a concept called the triangle of truth. This idea includes three things: fast, cheap, and good. The idea goes that you can't have all three. You can make it fast and cheap, but it's not going to be good. And you can make it good and fast, but it's not going to be cheap. And so on. You get the idea, I hope. I'm going to apply a similar concept to a Star Wars movie. Except my triangle will include these items: characters, story, and emotion. These are more check marks rather than a triangular formula. But just stick with me for a minute, I'll explain it. And as you'll soon see, certain films can include all three. The original Star Wars trilogy succeeded so well because they hit all the marks. Humor and action is essentially this. You can just eat the icing on the cake, which is tasty, but you'll get real fat. You'll get cavities and your teeth will rot out. And after eating too much, you'll start to get sick of it. You need a nice soft cake to balance it all out. Just like the Force.
All is as the Force wills it.
Remember the Force? Let's take a look at The Force Awakens. Now it hit 2 out of 3 marks, which made it passable. Our characters had some likable qualities to them.
You set me up for it. That was pretty good.
Moments that made them feel like real people, which helped us connect. We rooted for them, we felt for them, and we suffered with them. Thus, we had an emotional connection when shit hit the fan. If The Force Awakens didn't retread A New Hope's plot, it'd get a big check mark right here. But it did. And I don't think I need to go into this any further. Now let's look at Rogue One.
Let's just get this over with, shall we?
I got no check marks from me. Yes, Rogue One had humor.
There's a 26% chance of failure.
I don't know, I'm not sure. I never really come this way, but we're close. We're close, I know that.
Well, now there's a 35% chance of failure.
I don't want to know. Thank you.
I understand.
Some of the best, most awesomest Star Wars explosions ever. But it received no check marks from me for obvious reasons.
What chance do we have? The question is, what choice? Run, hide, plead for mercy, scatter your forces. You give way to an enemy this evil with this much power, and you condemn the galaxy to an eternity of submission.
Now let's compare 2 scenes. Are you ready? This is a scene from Rogue One. Cassian Andor and Jyn Erso have a shootout with stormtroopers in some kind of city. Pretty great, huh? Pretty exciting. Now here's a similar scene from A New Hope.
Get behind me, get behind me!
There's one difference between these 2 scenes. One contains characters we actually like.
Can't get out that way.
Looks like you managed to cut off our only escape route.
Maybe you'd like it back in your cell, Your Highness.
Hear them saying things to each other. We understand their perspectives. It's like we know them.
I can't hold off forever. Now what?
This is some rescue. When you came in here, didn't you have a plan for getting out?
He's the brains, sweetheart.
We like them. Now here's my re-edit when you have a movie written with unlikable characters who have nothing to say. Without characters we like, it's really just people fighting with stormtroopers. And finally, context. A Without the Star Wars IP and familiar things, imagine Rogue One as a movie called People Trying to Get Plans for a Super Weapon. These characters would just be generic science fiction characters. This guy would be talking about some kind of mystical thing we never get to see, and we're just told what it is, sort of.
May the Force be with us.
The Force?
Then these things would probably just look like this. Generic science fiction machines or robots or weapons. We'd ask ourselves, who's in charge? Who's our main bad guy? Is it that guy? Is it this other guy? Is it that weird guy in a Halloween costume? Why are these two guys mucking up the story? And how the heck did that one guy in the giant plastic helmet choke that other guy like that? Nobody told me.
The Force is what gives the Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things. It binds galaxies together.
Then finally, without context, the whole movie is basically that these guys have a thing that could do this. These people aren't going to try and stop the thing. They're just going to get the plans to do it later, after the movie is over. At the end of the film, we'd ask ourselves, oh, well, they didn't stop that thing? And everyone died? This doesn't feel like an ending. Also, we'd ask ourselves why the dad didn't just tell Jin, his daughter, that all they needed to do was shoot a proton torpedo in the exhaust port. You know, the one at the end of the trench. Do we really need to steal the complicated plans just to tell somebody that? In the end, without relying heavily on context, you just have a sci-fi movie without a satisfying ending, with confusing motivations, uninteresting characters, and no emotional investment. My point is, just go ahead and eat all that icing. Don't worry, you won't get diabetes.
Oh, man. That was
Try not to get too much of it in your beards.